Good afternoon. Besides my command staff, I am joined by City Corporation Counsel Linda Kingsley and incoming City of Rochester Corporation Counsel Patrick Beath. Some questions I may defer to them. We're here today to discuss and provide updates on the officer-involved shooting Sunday morning. Anytime someone loses their life, especially during an interaction with our officers, we owe it to our community to be as transparent as possible. As chief, I have promised transparency, and today I am here to provide it. What you are about to see is the 911 call, the radio traffic, the body-worn camera video, and technician photographs from Sunday morning. I must warn you, the footage you are about to see is graphic.
911 Center, what's the address of your emergency?
Well, I'm on Murray Street. I don't know the number.
Okay, do you know the nearest side street then?
No, but there's two men. I just saw one guy with a gun, a handgun. He had it out in the open. He's walking towards Lyle Avenue, down Murray Street, towards Lyle. There's two guys. They got sweatsuit shirts on and pants, black, dark clothes.
All right, you said one had, is it a handgun?
Yeah, it's a handgun. I saw it out in the open.
Okay.
They're walking down that way towards Lyle now. I'm the one way on Murray.
Okay, 1 second. Just stay on the phone with me. And these males, are they white, black, Hispanic?
They look Spanish or white.
Okay, about how old?
20s, 30s.
Okay. And what color hoodies?
Dark color sweatsuits on. Okay. I'm about to be driving by in a second.
All right. Do you know where the gun is now?
He put it in his sweatpants.
Okay. All right. What is your name?
My name.
Your last
They're
name?
walking down the street. They're just walking across the street right now.
Okay. What's your last name? And your phone number?
Uh.
All right. Don't approach him at all. We've got officers on the way.
I'm driving by him right now.
Okay.
The guy, he's talking to a girl right now. The other guy went straight ahead.
Okay. So the one talking with the girl is the one with the gun?
Yeah,
or?
the one
Okay.
with the gun, yeah.
Okay. And the female, is she white, black, Hispanic?
She looked like she was white. She had a white sweatshirt on,
Okay.
a white hoodie.
Okay. All right, sir. Again, just don't approach him. We've got him checking out the area.
Okay, I'm leaving now anyway. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Right,
Bye-bye.
You're welcome.
Third one of Murray is going to be Hispanic or white males, both wearing dark sweatsuit and guns down in the sweatpants, walking towards Lyle.
Hey folks, how are you guys? What's going on today?
We're just walking by. I'm walking this way.
Okay.
We're not staying right here.
Okay, what's going on today though? Okay.
I'm just nothing.
Okay.
Walking around.
What do you mean you're doing work?
I'm going to work.
Going to work? Where do you work?
Where I work in a mechanic shop.
Work in a mechanic shop?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you do there? What do you do there?
What do I do there? I work on cars.
Okay. So what are you guys doing like right here though? People got some...
I was passing by and we were talking.
Okay.
So, I think a person came go by and talk.
What was that?
Person came go by and talk.
Okay, we got some weird calls, man. Alright, can you just hang on? He is running northbound. Hey, stop! Drop the gun! On your stomach now! On your stomach now! Hands behind your back!
Sorry, man.
Other hand behind your back! Hand behind your He is running northbound.
As you can see in the video, the suspect pulled out what appeared to be a handgun. Despite the officer giving verbal commands to drop the gun, the suspect failed to do so. Following the shooting, our officers immediately provided medical care until relieved by the Rochester Fire Department. During our processing of the scene, a replica firearm was recovered from the driveway. Under our general orders in New York State penal law, officers are justified to use deadly physical force in defense of themselves or others. As I said on Sunday, preliminarily, it appears to me that the officer was in line with those regulations. That being said, the Professional Standards Section, or Internal Affairs, will continue their investigation into adherence with our department policies and procedures. The Attorney General's office will continue their investigation to determine if, in fact, the officer was in compliance with Article 35, which governs the use of force by police officers in New York State. I will take a couple questions.
So, as we saw, it happened very fast and you then slowed it down. And we can see he does drop the gun. Did that drop happen before or after the shots were fired?
No, so the drop happened after the shots were fired. I've had the advantage of watching this many times. So what you'll see is, and this is going to be released. Greg, what are we dropping this on?
YouTube and our social media channels.
So this will be available on YouTube and our social media channels. What you'll see is initially when the suspect begins to run, he does not have a gun in his hand. The officer is holstered up. It's a foot chase. You'll see the suspect pulls the weapon out, begins running with the weapon in his hand. At that point, you'll see the officer draws his weapon. The officer gives commands to drop the gun. The suspect does not comply. At that time, shots are fired. And only after the shots are fired, when the suspect is going down, is when you see his gun, or replica gun, as we have determined it was, to hit the ground.
Can you tell us anything about the other suspect that was at the scene?
We identified them and spoke to them, and like I said, the investigation's continuing.
You say a replica. Have we determined whether it is a useful gun as of yet that the suspect had in his hand?
So there's a bunch of definitions under New York State if you look it up, but basically a replica gun or an imitation gun is something that is designed to look just like a firearm. And that encompasses whether it's a toy, whether it's a BB gun, whether it's a pellet gun. You can see here a real one on the right versus the suspects on the left. And as I said, many times before on all these incidents, I was at the scene, I walked the scene, I saw the gun at the scene, and even that day, it was very difficult for us to tell if it was real or not. We had to wait for it to be collected for the technicians to process it, as I said on Sunday. If it were indeed a workable firearm, it would have to go one step further and go to the lab for testing to determine if it were functional.
Has any witness said why he was carrying a replica handgun?
I don't know. That's why, again, I have to caution. The body-worn camera tells a very small part of the story. If this was the whole story, the investigation would be over. We all know the Attorney General's office does very thorough investigations. It'll take some time, and there's a lot of factors to come into play. But yeah, there's a lot of things we don't know. So why is he carrying a replica gun? Does he possibly think it's real? We don't know. Maybe he just came into possession of it. Why, if he does know it's a replica, doesn't he simply say, I have this on me because there's no law against it, and then he's walking away? So why does he make the determination to run? We don't know. Why, when he's running, does he decide he's going to pull it out and hold it in his hand? We don't know. It's speculation. This is 3 seconds, and it's going to take months to unravel and put together, the minutia of this. Addressing the elephant in the room that I'm sure everyone's looking at. New York State does not have a fleeing felon law. So a fleeing felon law, which some states have or previously had, does allow law enforcement to use deadly physical force if someone is fleeing from a felony. But I caution you, fleeing is when you throw the gun down and you run away. When you're running away with a gun in your pocket. You're fleeing, you're trying to evade arrest. When you are running with a gun in your hand, I submit you are not fleeing, you are trying to obtain a better tactical position. There is a difference. And again, these are all judgments that we haven't taken a statement from the officer yet. The Attorney General will get that statement, somewhere down the road. The witnesses have been preliminarily spoken to, but again, those are interviews that are going to happen down the road. So, all of these things that are consideration that happens at lightning speed, we don't know. This is what we have. This is preliminarily what it looks like. And again, we would ask for patience as this goes through the process. The Attorney General's office has done a number of these for the Rochester Police Department. They are thorough investigations. They have been fair investigations. So we will wait for their outcome. In the meantime, the internal will go through, and that will determine if, as I said, any rules, regulations, policies were violated, and conversely, take a look at our training and our policies. Is there something we can do to improve? Because we always want to learn from our experiences. Maybe not. Maybe there is. We have to let it go through the course and see.
Have you guys determined if it was operable or not?
I don't know.
Very difficult situation for the officer, and I'm sure afterwards, very, very difficult. Anything you can share about how he's doing or she?
Yeah, so they're both on, there's two officers. There's the officer who engaged, the officer who's with him. They are both on leave for now for, mental health issues as well as procedural issues. I saw them both at the scene. They were doing as well as I would expect, but, oftentimes initially it hasn't sunk home. And then, when we're alone afterwards and we're thinking, is when this goes through. But, this, we're not releasing the officers' names. We will at some point next week, more than likely. But this is an officer who has about 11 years with the RPD. And, the other thing we want to think about is, so far year to date, we've recovered over 800 guns, crime guns, from the streets of Rochester. A couple hundred criminal possession of a weapon arrests. So that's 2 guns a day. That means these foot chases are happening every day. Very few end like this. So we have to think, what was there that made the difference in this incident compared to the others that led to this result? This is not the first foot chase this officer has ever had. This is not the first foot chase this officer has ever had after a man with a gun. My officers have these foot chases every day, day in and day out. The question is, what are the factors that led to this one being slightly different? And taking a look, doing a little research on this, and I couldn't find up-to-date numbers for 2023, but one of the articles I found from 2022, in August of 2022, so 8 months through the year, at that point in New York State, there'd been over 63 shootings which involved people who had a replica or a facsimile weapon that was mistaken for a real weapon and resulted in a real shooting of some kind. So, it is not uncommon at all. This, as you can see, looks very much like a firearm, but we also know in our experience that sometimes people take real firearms and paint them orange. Why? Because toy guns are orange. So again, to expect an officer in those split seconds to differentiate what is it, especially, he didn't throw it. He didn't throw it and run away. It was in his hand. What were his intentions? We don't know, but we'll get there.
Can you talk to, so he shot his gun off a couple of times. Can you talk to the kind of decisions an officer has to make in the moment on whether to shoot once or 3 times or 5 times?
Right, so training is to fire until the threat ceases. We also know that a national average hit rate for law enforcement under high stress is about 40%. So that means if you fire 4 shots, national average, how many times are you going to hit someone? So we do train to fire in groups, assess, and then if need be, fire again. So that's what you're seeing here.
Thanks, everybody.